This week's episode is brought to you by Florida Gothic, the horror novel by Mitzi Szereto and Midnight Rain Publishing. Set against the sweltering bug-infested backdrop of South Florida, Florida Gothic weaves a darkly unnerving and visceral tale of sex, drugs, crime, and vengeance. You can get your copy wherever books are sold, or by simply clicking the Amazon link in our show notes. And now, on with the show. Welcome to episode 64 of the Graveyard Shift Horror Podcast, where each week we watch a horror movie suggested by one of you beautiful horror heads, and we break it down into the good, the bad, and any other category we decide to come up with. We'll talk about the plot, some production details, and anything else we find fun or relevant. And there'll be plenty of spoilers along the way, so consider yourself warned. I'm your host Sheldon, and I never worked a graveyard shift alone. Please say hello to a guy that, where I come from, we call him Baldies, my co-host Mike.
Hey everybody.
Mike, I have a question for you. Did you ever go to summer camp as a kid?
No.
No? Wasn't a thing that came up during the summer?
I did go to some camp, but it was in the city, so we just...
So it was like a day camp?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did something similar. I went to a basketball day camp, but I mean, that's not the same. I had a friend of mine that went to a Bible summer camp. He was saving his money to buy a new guitar. It was a Gibson SG, so not cheap. He came from a pretty religious family, and his dad said that if he went to this 2-week summer Bible camp, he'd buy him the guitar. Wouldn't cost him a thing. Because, nothing says religion like bribery. But anyway... He went, but he told us we weren't allowed to tell anyone he was at Bible camp. And he said if anyone asks, tell them he was in rehab. All I know about summer camp is basically all I saw on TV and movies. It always looked kind of fun, but when it came down to it, it's not really something that I wanted to do. But anyway, why are we talking about summer camp? Well... it may have something to do with this week's movie. Isn't that right, Mike?
Indeed. Today's episode is Angela Slashes, because we watched Sleepaway Camp. If you think that name gave away everything about the movie, you are so wrong.
That's right, and this was a suggestion from Tammy M, who suggested it on our Facebook page, so thank you for that. As always, if you have a movie you'd like us to cover on the show, we are going to tell you all the ways you can do that at the end of the episode. Here's a little info on Sleepaway Camp. Released in November of 1983, Sleepaway Camp is an American slasher movie written and directed by Robert Hiltzik, who is known for, Sleepaway Camp and Return to Sleepaway Camp. That's what he's done.
And Sleepaway Camp, the Resleepening.
It has a runtime of 84 minutes, is rated R, had a budget of $350,000. It honestly looked cheaper than that. And it had a box office return of $11 million.
Shit.
Yeah, I know, right? In case you're wondering, if you're wondering about the math, that means it made its budget back 31 times.
Mein Liebe.
Rotten Tomatoes gives this one a critic score of 80% and a 60% audience score. I gotta say, I'm very surprised that the scores are tilted that way, because this is usually the type of movie that horror fans love it, but it gets blasted by critics. So I'm very surprised that actually critics gave it higher scores than the audience did. But as for the plot, a young girl and her cousin are sent to a summer camp, and killings begin shortly after their arrival. I think that sums it up nicely without giving too much away. So, before we get into any type of details, and we certainly will get into details, Mike, what was your overall thoughts on this?
For the most part, it seemed like a typical slasher movie, and then, boy, that ending.
Yeah.
So, I
I gotta say, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't regret watching this movie.
Yeah, this is strange because this is one that comes up a lot, like in horror chat rooms, on horror websites, things like that. It's pretty notorious, especially the ending. I knew about the ending, like what was going to happen. Like that's been a spoil. That was a spoil for me a long time ago, so I wasn't surprised by that at all.
And I knew about it from listening to the coverage on How Did This Get Made?
Yeah. But overall, I mean, like, it definitely had its good points. I got to say, I was entertained, so I'll give it props for that. But we're going to go into exactly what we thought made it good and what made it bad. We're going to talk about specific things that we liked and didn't like about it, and this can be anything as broad as an overall theme or something as specific as a certain scene, line, audio clip, prop, whatever. Basically, if we liked it, we can talk about it. If we didn't like it, we'll talk about it even more. And we start off with the good, as always. And, of course, we always start with Mike. So, Mike, right off the bat, tell me something that was good about this one.
Right off the bat, the cook getting served his just dessert.
Oh, man, did he ever.
Oh, this guy was so... this guy was designed in a lab for you to hate him right off the bat.
Yeah. So now, did you think that was like that was a good thing or bad thing, like this character? Because I obviously like the character, like he's a bad guy, but do you think that this was a good way of doing it to make him like probably one of the most disgusting people ever?
If they didn't want to give him if they didn't want to make him a prominent character, they would have to quickly introduce right away why you'd want to hate this guy so that they can quickly dispatch him. So, given the time frame and the overall lack of importance to his character, I think they handled it the best way they could.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, this guy's scum, and right off the bat, he gets his.
Yes, I like that. It really, like, right away, every scene that he's only in a handful of scenes, but, like, it's established right away what kind of person he is, and there's no sympathy for him when he gets taken out brutally and painfully. And, since we said this movie was made in 1982, so I don't think we have to really need a spoiler warning, but, we already gave one anyway, so yeah, you're going to hear in full detail what happens. Or did you want to save that for later on? I'll let you decide if you want to go into detail or not.
I don't think we had anything bad. Like, I do have a bad about the cook, but I don't think it'll mess with the good parts about the cook. For those who haven't seen the movie, as soon as the cook comes out, he's got his apron on, he's got a toothpick, and he's looking at all the kids, and just like Sheldon said, he's looking at the girls and saying, "Where I come from, we call them baldies."
Jesus.
Ugh. And he's like...
Cringe.
And then he starts calling them, like, sweet fresh chicken, and then we got... we've got, like, James Earl Jones by way of Uncle Remus as the second... as a secondary cook. And... he's just laughing it off.
I've got him everywhere in my notes. Any time that he shows up, I've got him in my notes as not James Earl Jones.
Well, I think he's his brother. Because he's in the credits as, like, Robert Earl Jones.
Fuck off. Really?
You missed that?
I did not see that. Dude, you're the one that likes the credits, okay? Not me.
It was in the opening, like Robert Earl Jones, and I'm like, that can't be related. Like, who shares the middle name? But then he shows up and he's like, "Oh, you just like the girls, don't you, you rascal?" And I'm like, motherfuck.
I gotta look that up. I'm serious. Like, you keep talking, but I've gotta check this out.
Yeah, so he's just checking out the girls, being a gross out perv. Then Angela shows up and he gives her the look like he's definitely got his eye on her. And then later on, Angela's not eating much in the cafeteria, so one of the counselors brings her into the kitchen, apparently unaware that there is a hebophile in the fucking staff. And if you don't know what a hebophile is, it's somebody who gives you the heebie-jeebies.
Yep. And he did that.
Yeah, and it's an actual term. It means like somebody. It's like different from a pedophile because pedophiles like kids. Hebephiles like people going through puberty. It's all the same thing, really. It's just potato molesto. So then she goes into the kitchen, and the cook's just like, yeah, I got something in back she might like. And as we've already established who this guy is, we're going to see, like, we know what's going on. As soon as he gets her alone, he starts, like, putting the moves on her. She's quiet, unresponsive. Then he starts taking off the belt, and I'm like, oh, no, no, no.
That, seriously, dude, like, that was the absolute worst.
I know. I thought this was going to be like, oh, we got something even worse than the squeal like a pig. I thought this was going to be like a spit on your grave moment, but then Ricky comes along, her cousin. The guy like throws his belt back on, leaves the kitchen, putting his belt back on. Nobody asks any questions. And then a couple of minutes later,
God damn it.
I was right.
No, you weren't.
Wait, he wasn't related?
He's not James Earl Jones' brother. He's his father.
Motherfucker. Yeah, given that the age of the movie...
Wow.
So it was his dad.
Holy shit. James Earl Jones' father is in Sleepaway Camp. And I literally have my notes as not James Earl Jones.
Because he's his daddy.
Holy shit. That's seriously, that is freaking me out.
Well, one of us pays attention.
Jesus Christ. Holy shit, that's amazing. Okay.
So the cook is throwing corn into this massive pot. Have you seen pots this size before?
No,
this
that
is
was
a
one of the things
barrel.
I put in my note. I'm like, literally, that's big enough to cook a human in.
And I thought that's what was going to happen because as he's getting on the stepladder, going to throw some stuff in, and he's throwing corn in there, I guess, I don't know how you empty something that size without making
That's
like a big spilling
because after
mess.
once I saw it, I'm like, holy shit, that's a huge pot. And then I realized, well, he's got about like 300 ears of corn there. So it kind of makes sense because, I mean, how many like smaller pots would you need to cook all that? But then that was my next thought. It's like, how exactly do you dump that afterwards?
You have to empty it by putting other pots into it to drain it slowly. Otherwise, you just get a person on each end to... And if it's on the stove, you would need to have tall motherfuckers to lift it off the stove to get it to the basin, to the sink, and then just pour it out there and just... Like, it just seems like an unfeasible mess. Like, it's the only way you could cook food that much, but getting it out, it just seemed like a hassle. So he's leaning over this thing, throwing corn in, and then we see a hand push the chair, like, pull away, like, he's stuck leaning over it. And then he's just like, hey, kid, come on, fuck off. And at first he's like, I'll be nice to you. And then he pulls the typical villain shit of uttering threats and insults to the one person whose life is in there, to your life, to the person whose hands your life is in. And he's just like, I'll fuck you up. And then they're just like, no, you're going to get fucked up. By pulling away the stool, and then he grabs the pot, falls down, spills everything, and he is covered in boiling hot water, and his skin is bubbling and blistering, and the biggest part is that his eyes are stuck open.
Yeah.
Because he never thought to blink. And
it was
like, I don't know how the hell he can scream, because you think his lungs would be getting boiled.
There's been a few instances where I've seen a character that I've been so happy to see a character suffer like the way that he did. So yeah, that was good. And he's an idiot too, because you're in that situation. Just let yourself fall. Don't grab on. Like, I mean, I'd rather take the chance of just falling off this tiny step stool onto the floor than pulling a boiling pot of hot water over me. But anyway. That good kill. So that's definitely going to lead into what I said, because like every single kill in this movie, I've got to give them credit. Like, they did a great job. I know some you didn't actually see. You only saw the after effects. But even then, still they look great. Really like speaks to the makeup effects and the practical effects in this movie. God damn it, I fucking loved it. The makeup effects on the cook after he was scalded looked amazing.
That was some good work.
I'm gonna go down and saying that this movie might have had, with that scene, might have been some of the best makeup effects I've seen. For that, at least for that one particular scene.
Well, now you know where most of the budget went.
That dude looked like somebody that just got scalded. So, yeah, I don't know who did the effects for this. I guess I could have easily looked that up, but doesn't matter. Kudos to them, whoever did it, because they were fantastic. And so since we're on the topic, let's just talk about some of the kills from this one. Like I said, most of them were seen, you didn't actually see the kill happen. And do we know if that's a kill, actually, when it comes to the cook? Because they take him away. He's still alive when they take him away in the ambulance.
Yeah, he's just blind and going to be in immense pain for a long time.
And they said that, and they said they have no idea if he's going to make it, right? Like, so I guess it's kind of, we assume that maybe he died. But
now, he won't make the kill of the week, but he definitely made a good fucking act.
Because we can't confirm that he died. So, but let's talk about the actual kills. Let's see, we get the cook, even if he's not dead, like, it looked great when he scalded with the hot water and just laying on the floor screaming. That looked fantastic.
Yeah, he got fucked up good.
The kid gonna give stuff away. Angela's the killer. There, it's out. The kid that she drowns, I guess. I don't know if she drowned or if it was blunt force trauma or whatever, but like anyway, they find him in the water. The way the body looked when he discovered it looked amazing. Especially with the freaking water snake crawling out of its nose.
Oh, yeah.
And what else did we get?
We got the camp owner who beat the shit out of somebody that he thought was the killer, only to find out, oh boy, was he wrong. And then he just gets shot in the neck with an arrow.
And I'm going to talk about that one a little bit more in a little while. But yeah, we got that one.
There was the bully who, well, several bullies. Everyone died because they were a bully. So there was kids who I thought were like teddy bears because we get to see them slashed up in their tents. But all I see is like stuffing and a bit of blood. So I honestly thought that someone murdered some plushed animals.
Well, yeah, it was they were just in their sleeping bags because they weren't even in tents. They were just like around the campfire, and it's the stuffing from the sleeping bags.
There's the girl in the shower who, I mean, I put that in a bed because I didn't like how that turned out. And then there was a bully who got punched in the back of the head, and then she was smothered with a pillow and wait,
Jesus
we're not going to get into that because that is, you know, where I put that kill. You know where I put that, so we're going to get there.
Okay, we won't mention that. Okay, yeah, that's... Woo, yeah. And there was the kid that died from the bee's nest.
Ah, the bees!
Ah, the bees!
Ah, they're in my mouth! Ah.
And then, of course, there's, the kills. The last 10 minutes of this one is like nothing but kills. But then, of course, is the final kill, the beheading.
Yeah, that one, I mean, that was a shock because you don't even know that it's happened until the very last second.
Yeah. Okay, so like this is pretty much going to sum up like a lot of my goods because like we talked about the great kills, the great makeup effects, and I want to talk about one in particular, and that is the arrow through the neck. Especially now that I know you're not going to be talking about this one later. So, but the camp owner that gets the arrow through the neck. What I loved about this one is that you know he's about to die, and since he's standing in an archery range, you kind of figure what's going to happen. But you know, in most scenes when somebody gets impaled by something, what you'll see is that you'll see the killer either throw or shoot something, whatever, and then it'll like cut away to the person, and you'll see them like with...
They're holding it.
Yeah. Or like, in most movies, what you would see is that if someone was going to kill somebody with an arrow, you see them let the arrow fly, and then it would do a quick like camera spin to the person, and the arrow would already be in them, and they just react to that. This one, I love the way he did this, because he's just standing there, doesn't cut away, and all of a sudden, you actually see the arrow like come flying and stick in his neck. I'm not even sure, because I have no idea how some of these special effects are done, but I'd love to see how they did this, because I thought they did like a fantastic job for no cutaways.
This was that actor's final movie, and they happened to mention that he just happened to die of cancer soon after. So maybe it was a cover-up. Maybe they actually killed him. Who knows?
Died of throat cancer, arrow-shaped throat.
He had an arrow-shaped tumor.
Yeah. So I want to mention that because, like, of course, for me, like, this was the highlight of the movie. Like, it made the movie fun. There's a lot of bad points to talk about with this movie too, but the main reason I liked this movie was because of the kills and the effects, the practical effects, the makeup effects, all done so good. And I'll just finish off my list. So if you got more good stuff to say, you can run off your list. While a big part of this movie is no surprise, you know right away who the killer is. There is absolutely no doubt. You would have to be a fucking moron to not know who the killer is in this movie. They do all the kills from point of view, but like, you know who it is. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how dumb you would have to be. I could kind of see it if people thought that it was the cousin maybe doing it. Maybe. Even then, I'd be like, you're kind of an idiot. But...
because the cousin wasn't around for a lot of those antagonizing scenes.
Yeah. So, I'm not surprised. There's no surprise when you find out that, dun dun dun, Angela's the killer. However...
They still thought... they'll never see this coming. And for the most part, they're right.
For the most part, yes, you're right. I like, even though, like, the only reason I knew is because this movie was spoiled for me a long time ago. Like, I mean, this is something pretty well known. But if I had never heard of this movie, I would not have thought it was going to, the big reveal at the end, I would never have guessed that.
Do you want to keep that as the...
Yeah. No, let's keep it. I want to talk about that in a different section.
If that's not a final category twist,
and not the way you think it's going to be either.
Yeah,
that's not. It's related to my what the fuck, but not in the way that people are going to think. So yeah, we'll save it for there. So that's my good. Like this, it's my good. Everything I liked about this movie basically centers around the kills and the makeup effects involved in the kills, the practical effects, things like that. But it is done good enough that it is enough to make me want to watch this movie again. Like, I would definitely watch this one again. Okay, did you have anything else good to add?
I have a note here. I may have forgotten the context, so if this is a line from the movie, maybe you can help me out. Mind over matter. Did someone get their head bashed in?
Head bashed in.
I just have mind over matter. That may have been a line that somebody used in the movie, or... yeah, past Mike has definitely left me with a mystery.
Yeah, I don't recall it. It could be. I'm not going to say, but, like, I don't recall specifically that being said in the movie.
And I did like the nice budding romance between Angela and Peter.
That was cute. Teenage, a little pubescent love blossoming there.
Yeah, like he's being nice to her. He doesn't like the way people are bullying her. He fucks up a bit. Like, he's not completely innocent, but you know, it's like harmless fun.
Jeez, he's like what? Like 13, 14? His hormones are slapping him in the face. Of course he's going to fuck up.
Yeah, and everybody's hormones are causing them to, like, they're like the kids are acting like the fucking counselors. Like, apparently this is like hookup camp. So, I like the budding romance. Like, he seemed like a really sweet fella, and met with a very odd ending. And my next good is death by bees. Apparently they burrow into skin. Lesson learned.
Yeah, well, okay, I'll go to, like, literally, I got it on my next my next list. While it looked good, like I said, again, props to the makeup effect. I don't quite know if the person that did the makeup effects knows exactly how bee stings work.
Like, we see bees crawling out of mounds of flesh. And remember, this guy has only, like, it's established, this attack is only taking, what, a total of 1 or 2 minutes?
Yeah.
So...
I my notes actually say just for that kill is just acid bees. Cause yeah, like there was literally holes like in the guy's flesh. Bees are crawling in and out. He's like just like he has holes like he got shot up by something.
Yeah, and I don't know if I may have put that in the wrong category. No, I liked it simply because like just the silliness that whoever the killer was, now we established it's Angela, but managed to get a bee's nest on a stick without getting stung to fucking death. So, like, one can only imagine that stick, they have an attack radius from the hive of about, 10, 15 feet? Mm-hmm. So, apparently she had to have a 20-foot long stick just so that the bees wouldn't be like, what the fuck is going on? Where are you carrying us? I'm going to sting the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
So she managed to lean that into the window, which, just the silliness of it. Yeah. But one thing that wasn't silly was my next one, actual soap and shampoo being used in a shower scene. Someone actually cleaning themselves with soap rather than just wringing their hair under the tap. It's like, when's the last time you've seen a shower scene in a movie where someone actually... disinfects their body of oil and BO rather than just, here's some water, I'm good.
Yeah, that's actually very true. I never really thought of it, but you're right.
And what I have is a good, and I wasn't sure what category you had this in, so I may be a little premature, but I won't dive in too deep. The Cop.
I certainly did not put that in the good category. Because holy shit.
This Cop just made me laugh my ass off. I mean, when people realize what the hell is going on, and... No, wait, I already got that somewhere else, but just a Cop. He brought such malicious joy to me in this movie, and that's all from our goods.
Yep, and the goods, like I said, like I gotta say, my good list for this movie is much shorter than my bad list, but still, I like this movie. Like quantity. I don't want that to seem like that means that I didn't like this movie. We got a lot of bad stuff to talk about, but still, the good things made up for it.
Yeah, quantity is not indicative of quality.
Exactly, and I'm nitpicking a little more when it comes to the bad. So that's the difference.
Well, that's where the fun is.
Yeah. Well, since you kicked off the good, I'll kick off with the bad. And first of all, get this out of the way right now. Holy shit! Were any of these actors actually actors? Because they not act good. Wow. Even not James Earl Jones, but James Earl Jones' dad, which still can't believe that.
God. He looks so much like Uncle Remus.
Damn.
I was expecting him to be like, just walking through the kitchen, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay.
Yeah, really. Ugh. Disney was so racist. Holy shit.
Oh, you mean the same company that did the Aristocats with "We are Siamese" would actually be racist?
Yeah, imagine that.
They've done so many nationalities. Did they ever do a Jew?
Don't forget about
or do they just
crows
not exist?
Dumbo.
Oh, yes, the crows in Dumbo. I mean, did they ever do a Jew? Yeah, but they did some good black characters with Princess and the Frog.
Oh yeah, they
So,
did eventually. I
The
mean,
question is, has there been Jews in any Disney cartoons, or are they just like a blind spot? Do they just like not exist, period?
just the Nazi propaganda ones they did.
Did the Jews even show up in that, or was it just the Nazis?
I fucking don't know, man. It is
I don't think they
ridiculous.
ever showed the Jews getting picked on, because apparently the Jews getting slaughtered weren't a reason to fight the Nazis.
Do you ever see the Family Guy skit when they mentioned about Walt Disney being frozen? It's like literally you see like Walt Disney in like a cryo freeze chamber, and they open the door, and they're like, "Mr. Disney, welcome to 2000 and whatever year it was at the time," and he goes, "Are all the Jews dead?" And the scientist goes, "No." And he's like, "Put me back."
I saw this. I think it was Cracked or something. They did like an animation, like Disney songs, but in real life, and it has this woman singing of like living in medieval times, but people are like dying of dysentery all around her. And fuck, I forgot who did the skit, but oh yeah, it was Family Guy. They did a different skit of like a Family Guy, but as a Disney musical, and Mort comes over, Mort Goldman, and they all look around, Jew! So yeah, Jews don't exist in Disney World, in Disney's animated worlds, at least yet. If there is one that we missed,
But anyway, we are severely off track. So let's start off with me saying that I didn't like the acting. Yeah, everybody in this was a terrible, terrible actor. Like, really bad.
I don't know. That cook did a good job of acting like a skeezy prick.
Maybe he just was. Maybe he wasn't acting. This is just like somebody's uncle, like probably director's uncle or something. It was like, well, get Uncle Bobby on the set. He'll definitely say something pervy. So just keep the cameras on him.
Yeah, and don't leave a kid around without a camera on him. It's the only way to keep him mostly in line.
Yeah. So, yeah, that acting was rough, dude. Like, seriously. That everybody was just so intense, the way they delivered their lines, and just... I don't even know how to describe it. It was just bad. So, yeah, that's definitely the first thing I want to cross off the list, is that just the acting is terrible.
And my first bad is the opening, because right off the bat, I was reminded, or at least feeling, that this was trying to copy Dracula's opening with panning scenery shots of the camp with scary music crescendos, but nothing scary happening on the screen. So it just reminded me of the opening scene of Dracula with the pan of his castle and the orchestra being bombastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, but at least in Dracula's castle, you're looking at like an ancient castle, and you know already there's a vampire in it. Here, there's nothing sinister happening worthy of the music.
Yeah, that's true.
So I can see the influence that they're trying to like copy one of the greats, but I'm not impressed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what this is not on my list, but it's definitely bad. This beer that I'm drinking right now. I was buying beer the other day, and I saw this one is called Cracked Canoe. And I said, like, that would be cool, a cracked canoe. It's like, you know, because you have canoes at summer camp, so it'll be kind of related to the movie that we're covering. And Jesus Christ, this tastes like beer infused with dirt. I'm still going to drink it.
Someone's not a fan of the advertised earthy undertones.
No. I'm still going to drink it. I'm just not going to like it. But actually, next on my list... Well, actually, next thought that I had on my list for the bad was that I have acid bees. Because while it did look fantastic, I mean, the dead body afterwards, I'm just like, dude, do the writers not know how bees work? They don't burrow themselves into people's skin or, like, melt their skin with some kind of acid. Like, what the hell did he think bees are?
I think they still had some burn cream or burn prosthetics left over from the cook, and they're just like, well, this shit's gonna spoil and it's gonna dry out. What are we gonna do? throw it on the bee victim.
Yes, maybe, but it just seemed really weird. Like, that was a lot of overkill for someone to die from bee stings. But anyway, I already talked about that. So next thing, and I already talked about the acting was bad, and wow, this movie had a very large collection of annoying characters. Oh my god, like, some of the people here are so obnoxious.
You may be leaning into one of my next bads.
Oh yeah, well, you go right ahead then, because if these are going to be similar, then just go for it.
I've got the aunt who is dressed up like a French Cruella de Vil. Always speaking like a bad actress.
Well, that's what I said, like, when it comes to the acting.
Oh,
like,
you children are so lovely. I hope you have a great time at camp.
yeah, and if guys, anyone listening to this that hasn't seen this movie, Mike is not exaggerating right now. This is how she spoke in every scene that she was in. Like,
yeah.
he's not being over the top for the sake of being dramatic. That's how the character, the kid's aunt, that's how she spoke.
My impressions are that good.
Jesus. Yeah, that, she was bad, but and like she was probably the worst when it comes to obnoxious characters. But then, like, some of the kids at the camp, like especially like the older kids, and even some of the counselors. Holy shit, they were like the shittiest counselors. They're like literally like some of them are like insulting the kids, not only just like insulting them, but like physically like threatening them.
It's like they're like cops from 80s horror movies. Like, they just hate kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, oh, they were the worst. Like, especially, like, the females especially. The female counselors were really bad. And the male camp kids, I guess, like the camp goers, whatever you want to call them. Oh, holy shit. Like, when they were playing baseball, everybody that played baseball was fucking annoying. The guys that were on the roof throwing water balloons, they were just the worst. I wanted one of those. I was just waiting for one of them to fall off the roof and die. All right, what do you got next for the bad?
Going back to the cook, I have here Hebephile cook and Uncle Remus Earl Jones laughing it up that he's getting hard at children.
Oh yeah, that was so cringeworthy. Because
he's not hiding the fact that I am sexually attracted to pubescent girls, and everyone around him is either just playing it off like, oh, that's Harley, but the cook is just like, oh, you just having a time of your life.
Well, he actually says to him when he makes it, oh fuck. Like, this really, like, made me want to vomit when he says, like, oh, look at all them fresh chickens. You know what they call them where I come from? Baldies. I'm like, oh my god, please tell me you didn't actually say that. And the guy's response, James Earl Daddy, his response was like, hey, most of these people are too young to even know what it is you're thinking about. So I thought this where you're going to get, like, you know, this guy kind of, like, kind of shut up or, like, you know, at least feel bad about what he said. But oh no.
He doubles down.
No. He doubles down and says, ain't no such thing as being too young. You're just too old.
And the guy laughs.
He literally does it like, ha ha ha, and does that little hand wave, like brushing him off and walks away.
Oh so, my god, it's like if Darth Vader was a pedophile.
Jesus Christ. Like, this guy just said in front of, like, the entire kitchen crew that he's sexually attracted to these kids.
And everybody's cool with it. Like, it's like a joke. That nobody's creeped out, that nobody's going to be like, I can't work with this prick. Because you know what? We can work with this prick. It just doesn't upset us. So yeah, that was pretty fucking bad.
God damn it, yeah. So, and that's why I didn't know what category to put him in, because like obviously he's like a disgusting character, but I mean he was supposed to be a disgusting character, so you would hate him. So when he got his comeuppance, you were really happy about that. So
Yeah.
that's where I didn't know whether or not to put him as a good or a bad.
His character in itself is good because you can hate him.
Yes,
you
because
can be
you
happy
want
he
to
suffers.
hate him, and he's there to make you hate him.
But the bad is just the support structure that enables this fucker.
Yeah.
Like when he's seen coming out of the kitchen, putting his belt on, and the counselor's just like, you go back into the camp, we'll fix you up and stuff. Like, they're not, like, the fact that this guy clearly was going to do something with these kids isn't a red flag with anybody, from the other cooks to the dishwasher to the counselors to the guy running the place. Nothing says, like, nothing is enough to make them fire this guy.
Yeah. And then talking about perverts, I mean, he was obviously, like, of the bunch, the biggest, nastiest pervert. But let me tell you, that owner, like, he was leaning quite far on the pervy side as well. Seeing as he's openly, like, willing to date one of his teenage counselors.
Oh yeah, she's putting the come hither on him, and like I don't know why, because this guy looks like Hugh Hefner.
And he had no problem. I had to put in my notes there. Is like the owner like have no problem just not knocking or anything, just throwing open the door and walking straight into the girls' camp.
And to him he'd respond with, "Well, you got a problem with me walking in like I own the place? 'Cause I do."
Yeah. Now, this is not like a good or a bad thing. This is just a question, because neither one of us went to summer camp, like we talked about earlier. Like I really didn't know this. Did most summer camps have like such a huge range when it came to the ages of the campers?
This really struck out of place, because I mean, like, there are children like 8 to 10-year-old children as well as 12-year-olds, and they're all like forced to pretty much be around each other, as well as teenagers who, you know, are the teenagers just like automatically turned into counselors?
Yeah,
because they got grass on the field or something. Like what?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm like, was that a thing? Like that? There's such a range, because you got really small kids there. Like some of these kids look like they were like maybe 6-7 years old.
Yeah, it looks like a daycare rather
and
than
then
a
you've got
camp.
like older teens that are obviously at least like 16 or so. So yeah, I didn't get that at all. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, there was no proper separation here.
No, and they were all like they were all like mingling amongst each other. Like there was just kids running all over the place. So I didn't know. Like I honestly don't know if that's how it worked. Like I said, never been to summer camp. I have no idea. But it just seemed weird to me. But that wasn't a good or a bad. That was just a question. It just seemed odd.
Yeah, that's fine. One of my. Oh wait, yes. So
no, that's all I had to say about like for the bad was just like maybe not quite as pervy as the cook, but like that owner, holy shit, like that was
at least, this is not like a real saving grace, but at least, relatively speaking, he was into consent and post puberty.
And she was a counselor. I don't know how old she was. Like, I mean, she was young, obviously a lot younger than him, but I don't know if she was actually a teenager. I mean, she could have been like an actual adult, as far as I know. But still, it just seemed fucking
I don't know.
creepy.
Like, some of the teenagers are counselors. Some of the teenagers are just, kids.
Yeah. But
It was pretty confusing.
It was. But, okay, you go ahead.
My next one is that people get angry around quiet people. Like, deeply offended.
Holy shit, yes. Oh, my God. Like, as far as they know, she doesn't talk, Angela. And I mean, it doesn't matter if she does. If someone wants to be quiet, that's their business. If they don't want to talk, these people, not just the other campers, like the fucking counselors, are getting like so aggressive because she won't speak. Like, just
I couldn't tell if they were the
ridiculously
counselors or just the... again, I couldn't tell if they were the counselors or just the other kids.
Well, one of them was like the one that wanted to hook up with the owner of the camp. She was one of them.
Oh yeah, well I guess she had to be a counselor, or otherwise he's just hooking up with one of the kids.
Ugh, my God, that is
Yikes!
Fucking gross.
Yeah, this movie was all over the place, like ethically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
well,
she tries to talk to Angela, and then Angela doesn't say anything, just stares at her, and she's like, "Why don't you answer me, you bitch?" It's like, they're quiet. Like, at worst, just be like, well, someone's not friendly, and walk away.
Yeah. But no, they were getting in her face and screaming. They literally, at one point, picked her up and threw her in the water.
Tried to shake her.
Like, holy shit, these people should have been fired. Like, if the counselor does that, they should have been fired and removed immediately. And the kids, like, if it's one of the kids, one of the campers, then, like, yeah, you're calling your parents and they're coming to get you right now because you have to leave.
Yeah, you are a disruption. You gotta fucking go.
Okay, so here's something I got from my bad list. Since we talked about Meg, the counselor that wanted to hook up with the owner that said at very least 3 times her age. Why did her dead body leap out of the shower?
Oh, you already tapped into one of my what the fucks.
Okay, well,
which I guess will.
Well, it was like you said you didn't really care for the kill. It wasn't one of the better kills. She's in the shower. Angela kills her by sticking a knife through the back of the shower.
I thought it was the shot. Yeah, through the wood, or whatever the divider is, and somehow when Hugh Hefner goes into her shower, before he can pull back the curtain, she falls out. Like she was standing and fell forward with the holding the curtain rod, holding the curtains. Like,
so, yeah,
what the fuck was holding her up?
So I'm like, my notes just said the shower curtain was propping her up.
Literally, what's the holdup?
Like, yeah, I got the shower curtain was propping her up. That's not how physics works.
And then quickly breezing through the rest of my bads. Why does the Hugh Hefner owner of the camp think that Ricky did it? Because this guy is furious. Like, when he's realizing that people are dying, he immediately just thinks like, oh, that motherfucker, he's doing this to ruin me. Like, where is this conspiracy theory in his head?
Yeah, what are you basing this on exactly?
Yeah, like, Ricky had a few problems with some kids, but he is, like, instead of thinking, I should look into this and, like, keep an eye on the kid, no, he just immediately comes after him, like, tries to shake the shit out of him, and then he gets called off for something, and then when he gets the kid alone, he beats him to fucking near death.
Yeah, I mean, when they discovered him, they thought he was dead at first.
No investigating, no anything. He just has one hunch, no other suspects, and just decides, I'm gunning for this kid.
Yeah.
And then when she gets punched by Angela in the back of the head, this is here's where some of that bad acting comes in, because as she's stunned, Angela gets her on the bed, and she acts like a kid who doesn't want to get out of bed. Like, she's just like throwing her head to the side, like,
My notes here says, I'm being murdered, so jazz hands.
Like, either get knocked out or get up and fight, struggle, run, do something. Like, she doesn't look like she's been concussed. She just looks like she's really sleepy.
Yeah, you're right.
And the next one, which borders on what the fuck, but I have as a bad, is revealing the big giveaway at the end. But they could have done it without having the little cutaway with Crazy Aunt Cruella. Because, or at least put it after the reveal. Because, I mean, like, can we get into the big reveal now? Or do you want to say that?
Yeah. You know what? Let's just do it. Just don't give away what I'm going to say about, like, you know, my commentary on that scene.
Okay, so Angela at the very end, we see her holding Peter's head, holding Peter, like cradling, and he's lying like near her. So we're just imagining that she's just like cradling him, stroking his hair, singing something, and the counselors come up, and as they do, we're immediately flashed back to the crazy aunt, which I fucking hate every time she speaks. But she's just going on and on about how it's so sad what happened to you, but we just can't, like, we were just happy to take you in. And, like, again, for no discernible reason.
Maybe we should just say, like, what happened at the beginning, so that, you know.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we never did.
We never did talk about that beginning.
Oh, so. Man. Okay, I think we'll just... I'll just wrap up the bad. They cut the explanation in, which took the sting out of the reveal, which, if they had it run afterwards, that would have been like a nice denouement, but I felt the cutaway was bad. So now we can go right into what the fucks, and that has one of the weirdest fucking openings for a movie I've seen. Where
don't take away my bads. You can't go into what the fucks until I'm ready.
I thought you were done with the bads.
No,
okay, go ahead.
I didn't say that, bastard.
All right. All right, go ahead.
But now we're jumping all over the place. You ruined the flow. Okay, so let's just talk about like what happened at the beginning. We see there's a guy. He's on a boat with two of his kids, two young kids. They're twins. There's a boating accident. Another boat pulling a water skier crashes into them, and we're not sure.
Those teenagers.
Yeah, that don't know how to turn a boat, apparently. They crash into them, and we see that right away. We know that the father is dead. And we see one of the kids in the life jacket floating off. We're not sure what happened.
And the life jacket's separate from them. Like, they got hit so hard, they got knocked out of the jacket.
Yeah, the jacket knocked out of the jacket, and the jacket's all ripped up. So it looks like it probably got hit with the boat's propeller.
Oh, and yes, this was a bad that I completely glossed over, but it's part of this. The girl who was being towed on the rope is screaming, "Help them! Help them! Somebody help them! They're hurt! Somebody help!" And she is screaming for 2 minutes straight. Screaming, "Somebody help them!" while not actually swimming towards them or offering any help herself. Mm-hmm. And everyone is already in shock, staring at what's happening, making horrified faces. Everyone is already up to speed that this has happened and people need help. And she's screaming, "Somebody help them," while giving no help herself.
Yeah. But anyway, all we know is that like the father's dead because we see him floating face down. We know at least one of the kids are dead. So flash forward, I think they said it's 8 years later. And, of course, all this happens. Angela seems to be the one that survived, so it was the little girl that survived from this accident. But then it gets revealed that, no, that's not the case, because Angela is actually... what was the boy's name? Doesn't matter.
I don't know if they had a name.
It was actually the brother that survived. But... for some reason, Crazy Aunt decided to raise him as Angela?
Yes, because she said, "We already have a boy, and it just wouldn't do to have two. But we've always wanted a boy and a girl, so that's where you'll fit right in, right, Peter?"
Yeah, so Angela was actually the brother. The sister died, and the brother lived, but got raised as the sister. And that's where that's the reveal that we get, because the last scene we see is Angela butt naked with showing full frontal little I'm just going to try to say something funny, but yeah, her dick's showing.
Yeah, she completely naked. Like, they were going to go skinny dipping, and we get to see her, his
full-on schlong sticking out.
Yeah. And dropping, I thought the boy's name was Peter. Russell. Fine. Russell, that's his name. Dropping Russell's severed head.
Yeah, so that, you think that the reveal is going to be that Angela's the killer because you don't actually see who's killing people, but everyone figured it out because people are not morons. You knew it was Angela, but surprise...
It wasn't Angela, it was Peter.
So, yeah, that was it. It was, Angela, basically Angela's a boy, and we'll talk about that a little more in a little while. But yeah, it was just why? I just don't understand. I know they give a reason why. Just
it had nothing that really drove the plot. They were just like, we need to have some twist. We can't write a good way to kill these villains without everyone realizing who it was. So what can we do to surprise them?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how you would pull that off anyway. Like, there would have to be some kind of records about who survived and who died, right? Like, that's...
Yeah, there'd be birth records, and only one of them died. Oh, yeah, and it's established either... they couldn't have been married at the time, but the dad and his friend were, I guess, raising the kids.
Yeah, they were a couple.
Yeah, they were a couple. And I don't know why that other guy didn't get the kids.
Yeah,
Or that he never showed up, and he's just like, oh, I was just checking in on Peter, and why do you have him in a wig?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot to cover up, especially since, like, this guy had a domestic partner who cared about the kids and, would probably, presumably, be a part of their life.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, since you fucked up my goddamn flow, I guess I'll finish off the last thing I had on the bad list. So kids are getting massacred at this camp. There's, quite a few deaths that are very suspicious. One cop shows up. And he is the worst cop ever. Holy shit. He doesn't close off a crime scene. Sends counselors looking for kids in the woods when there's a murderer on the loose.
Well, he doesn't have backup.
Yes, but still, you're like, no, if there's a murderer, I understand there's kids in the woods. I'm the cop. I will go and try to help them. You stay here. If there's a murderer, you guys stay here and fucking barricade yourselves in, or just get the fuck out of here. No, you're not going off tramping through the woods when there's somebody out there killing people with an axe. And there's something else about the cop, and I don't know if you want to save it for something else, but I really want to talk about it.
If it's your last bad, we can just use that as the bridge to what the fuckville.
Okay. So, besides being the worst cop ever when it comes to, his punctuality, what the fuck is going on with his mustache?
I thought it was painted on.
Oh, I got in my notes the cop's mustache is painted on.
But when he turns to the side, we see it has a profile. It actually stands out, so
they stuck some hair on the paint.
What I put down here is that apparently the cop just got the job, so they gave him a mustache on loan.
They gave him
before he could grow in his regulation stash.
He just passed the academy, and they hand over. They have the little boxes that flip open. They've literally got his badge and a mustache there. Why does the cop need to have a fake mustache? And such an obviously fake mustache. Why? Why didn't you just let him go bareface if he can't grow a mustache or whatever?
Well, he can't. How did they know he's gonna? How would they know that he wasn't just a guy disguised as a cop if he didn't have a mustache?
Like, were they really that particular? It was like the costume people were like, look, it says in the script that the cop has a mustache, okay? So if you're going to play the cop, you have to wear this.
Is the mustache imperative to the script? No, but he's a cop.
Oh my god. So yeah, I definitely put that down in the that's definitely bridges the what the fuck for sure. So just in case if this is the first time you listened, we used to just do the good and the bad. But then every once in a while we got something that just defied explanation or just confused us, something that made us say what the fuck. So we decided to stick in this what the fuck category for times like this where just some things just don't fit good or bad. They just have no explanation. And that's definitely one of them. The cop's mustache, Jesus Christ. Why did you feel that was necessary? Okay.
Oh, wow.
Did you, other than the reveal, did you have anything for what the fuck?
Yep. Right off the bat, we see the two kids on a what was that thing he was on? Like a sailboard?
Mm-hmm.
These the two kids are on the sailboard and they're talking with their dad, and they have British accents.
No, they don't. You said that, and I had to go back and watch it. They're kids that don't have that strong, like, New York, New Jersey accent or whatever, and they're trying to pull off that type of accent.
Well, it sounded British to me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can strike that. So my next one is Mozart. There's a kid named Mozart, and I don't know why this kid didn't get a more prominent role or if he was in this movie at all. He brings a video game into his baseball game as he's hanging out in the outfield. He passes out in his bunk with no shame reading a Penthouse. And then when someone gives him the shaving cream gag of putting a little foam in his hand and then tickling his face, when he slaps his face and wakes up realizing what's happened, he pulls a fucking knife on the kid that did it, and he's coming at him, and everyone's laughing it off like, oh, you.
Seriously, he pulls a knife and starts coming after him. It's the best.
And it's not even like something from the cafeteria. This is like a full-on fucking Bowie knife.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's got a hunting knife. He's gonna fuck them up, man. He had enough of their fucking pranks.
And it's like, that is such a gross overreaction. At best, you just think, oh, you prick, I'm going to get you. And then you go to the shower, you go to the bathroom, and you wash off. This guy, he acted like they put dog shit in his hand.
He was the one that, honestly, like, no, they did a lot of pranks on him, man. If anybody deserved to be the killer in this movie, it should have been him.
Yeah, they could have at least propped him up as a MacGuffin.
Yeah, he should have been the one that the camp owner thought that maybe, like, he's the killer.
Yeah, like if everyone picked on him and Angela, then at least there'd be a suspect pool.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was definitely a what the fuck. I got a minor what the fuck. I almost put it in a bad, but I said I'll leave it for what the fuck. Why the hell is everybody wearing extremely tight shorts and crop tops?
Well,
I know it's 1982.
Well, also, I guess the cook needed something.
Ugh.
Apparently, he's got seniority, so everyone just has to cater to him. It's like he's the secret investor.
Because one of the counselors, like I don't remember his name, but like he's shown a lot. He's the one at the end that says the thing that I really want to talk about.
Oh boy!
Let me tell you, there was no confusing what his gender was, because holy schlong in his shorts.
Moose Knuckle Central. This guy, God. Everybody here, I swear, these people got their wardrobe from a nearby porn studio.
Because I'm like, the scene when you first see him when they're in the cafeteria, I'm like, yeah, there's 5-year-olds at this camp, and I think you might have actually taken a pair of their shorts. Because, like, those are not adult-sized shorts that you're wearing.
Oh, yeah. One of a quick one that we already covered is, what the fuck is holding up Meg in the shower?
Yeah. Exactly. She, and not just falls. Like, I go back and look at the scene. She doesn't just fall into the shower. Like, the actress actually, I think, like, kind of, like, does a little leap out of the shower.
Yeah, like she's just waiting there to lunge out of the shower.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of the corpse from Pieces. It's like she's dead, but there's just like one burst of energy left in her waiting to spasm out.
Yeah.
And that energy wasn't used by making her stand up while dead in the shower. Like if she was like pinned to the wall with a knife through her hair or her skull, at least like she'd be sitting, at least she'd be like standing up and have a reason for that.
And it just looks so awkward. Like, why didn't he just have it like he pulls back the shower curtain and her body is just in the shower? Like, why did you have to have it leak out? I know it was just like to do a little, kind of a jump scare, but it just looked so weird. Like, it really took away from the kind of, they're trying to do a serious tone, and that just was not serious. But oh boy, I know you've got one more for this list to talk about. I've got one. I want to save mine for last because it was the end of the movie, and I really want to address that. So I know you got one more that about a certain death.
Oh yes, Judy. Judy, after getting smothered with a pillow, we see Angela, the killer, reach for her curling iron, and we see her arms get thrown up, and there's only, like, since it's not like a pointed instrument, there's only one spot that curling iron could have gone.
Yep.
And oh boy, I just wrote down, did she dildo her with the curling iron?
She did. I actually had to look that up to see like if that's what happened, and yep. And the person that verified it, from what I heard, I actually saw an interview with Felissa Rose, who played Angela, and she said, yeah, it went where you think it did. That's how she killed her, by trauma from like the shock of having a hot curling iron in the hoo-ha.
While also being smothered.
While being smothered, yep.
Yeah, and mini what the fuck is a serial killer is on the loose and they send just Officer Pornstache to deal with it?
Yeah, I already said that. Like, they send one fucking cop.
Yeah, so he's, like, as bad as he is, this station is even worse.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a really small place and he is like the actual only cop there.
Well, I think it's time for... I think our final what the fuck is pretty much going to be the same, so yeah. You go ahead.
Well, okay,
Take us home, Sheldon.
We already talked about how this movie ends. It gets revealed that Angela is the killer, and that she's not actually Angela, but she's, the brother that survived, and I can't think of his name, but whatever. It gets revealed because we actually see, like, she stands up full frontal, and she's got, they got the schlong sticking out right there. But here's my what the fuck. Not that. Because I'm like, hey, good twist. That caught me by surprise. I wouldn't have guessed that if it hadn't already been spoiled for me. Two of the counselors are the ones that discover her. They run up to the scene. She's holding this kid's, like, freshly severed head in her hands. Do you think, like, oh my god, they killed... insert name here. Russell. Oh my god, she killed Russell. Nope, that's not what they say. What they're horrified about is what they see between her legs. They stop and they say, oh my god, Angela's a boy.
She's a boy.
She's a boy.
Like, this is the shock.
That's what they're freaked out about, is that Angela's not a girl. Yeah, it baffled me.
And coupled with that, before you can adjust to that, when Angela realizes someone's behind her, she turns around and makes this face like, I don't know what Jesus, the fuck this face is.
Her mouth is just open like all the way.
Her mouth unhinges like she's going to swallow an egg,
and she's
like
just
an
doing
ostrich
this
egg whole.
Disgusting sound, just as
not even attacking the counselors, just standing there holding the knife out
Like-
in one hand, the other hand just dropping the head, and just standing there, buck naked, covered in blood, with the wang out, and just
And I'll give her
while the
props
music
because, like,
is stinging.
It looks like one. I give them credit because it is one of the most disturbing things I ever saw. Like the look on her face and the growl, that animalistic growl that she's doing, is so creepy. Like literally, like whoa, that is somebody that is psychotic. Like this person is not playing with a full deck. But like I just couldn't believe like when we got to that scene and it's like that's what they decided to focus on.
And good music too. Like when that is revealed, the musical sting that accompanies with it is equally shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Then it gets weird because as it freeze frames, like there's no follow up, like her getting arrested or getting committed. Nope, that's where the fucking movie ends, right in that very second. And then, for whatever reason, as it freeze frames and starts rolling credits, her face gets shaded green. Like everything turns green. Like they just turned down the red and the blue on the chroma and just left the green.
Yeah.
Like why? You already had a great sting. Why confuse me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was weird. With the end credits that looked strange, but like, I just had to mention that because that like it kind of made me like I don't like to play things off as a sign of times because like that still even in 1982 that would have been a weird thing to focus on if you discover somebody with like someone holding a severed head.
No, but like they have a dong, so that's the big thing. This reminded me of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, where some people were getting killed, and also at the end, like when it's revealed that the killer is the guy, but when the shirt comes off, he's got tits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh wow, they really just needed something to shock you with.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it ends, and that's all I've got for my list. Nothing really anything else to talk about this movie, except for one thing. And I gotta say, it's been a little while, but Mike, once I told our connects that we were watching Sleepaway Camp, they actually came through and found some audio from a deleted scene from this movie.
Did they now?
Yeah, and it really ties something together because, you know, the last we see of, I think you said the kid's name is Russell?
Yeah.
We see them where they're, I think, about to go skinny dipping. They're taking off their clothes, and we don't see them again until, like, we see Angela holding his severed head. But apparently there was a scene in between that got cut that, you know, kind of shows how it came down to that, to Angela just taking an axe to him.
Well, it would have been nice to have some explanation, but
Yeah.
you're saying that they did and they just cut it out?
Yeah, I don't know why. Time restraints. Maybe they thought like it just made the movie run a little long. But in either case, our connections came through and they got us the audio, and that's what we're going to be letting you guys listen to for this week's It Came from the Cutting Room Floor. Okay, I'm naked. Now what? Whoa! You're a boy?
Oh, so what? Now you don't like me? Oh, that makes me so angry. I could kill you.
No. I'm actually okay with that.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's 1983. People are a lot more accepting these days.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you're a good person, and I really do like you.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Tell you what, let me go get my ghetto blaster. I have a Carpenter's Greatest Hits cassette. It's so romantic.
The Carpenters?
Yes, we'll make out while listening to it. It'll be wonderful.
I'm not really into the Carpenters. I'm more into rock, you know, AC/DC, Alice Cooper.
But I really like them.
I just don't like that soft rock stuff. It's really for prudes.
What did you say? Prudes?
No, I wasn't going to say... I was going to say prunes, like old people with wrinkles. Because prunes have wrinkles.
You were going to call me a prude. I'll show you, just like I showed the others.
Angela? No!
Why do birds suddenly appear? Yeah. Oh, wow, my throat's dry. Wow.
Huh, how about that?
Amazing.
Yes.
That would have been a better bridge than that Cruella de Vil flashback with her in that fucking beret.
Yeah, it almost changed. It had the potential of changing like the final outcome of the movie. So, you know, too bad it had to play it like that. If he just went along with the freaking music, he could have probably saved his life. But it's too late for him now. Okay.
No. If you don't stand by what you believe in, is life even worth living?
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so that is pretty much all we got to say about the movie, except for one thing, Mike. I think I know what you're gonna go with, but I will leave that to you.
Oh yeah, I think it's safe to say that that Sheldon hit the mark on this week's kill of the week. And yeah, we got creepy Hef slapping the shit out of Ricky, thinking, oh fuck, now he's just pummeled the hell out of Ricky. And he's, as far as he knows, he did. Like, justice has been done. Whatever this 15-year-old boy's vendetta was against him, it's now been settled. It's now been stopped. And then he stands by the archery range, sees someone holding an arrow and a bow, and without thinking like, oh, I'm in any danger, he just is stunned, going, you? And then immediately catches an arrow in the throat. And boy, I thought it just looked great.
I did too. Like, not bloody or anything like that. I just thought it was just a great kill. Just like like I said earlier, no cutaways. Just he's standing there, says you, and then arrow just through the neck.
And you see it through the back of his neck. Like, it's not just
like
a little stick glued onto his throat.
It was shot great. Like I love the way they did that.
So yeah, it's a pretty epic end for a guy who, for the most part, seemed kind of like morally ambivalent. Like, not a villain, but no hero by any means. Just a guy trying to get it on with a sexy teenager who is probably just above the age of consent in that state.
And then he died in real life.
Yeah. Well, maybe it wasn't prosthetics then. Boom.
R.I.P. Yeah, no, great kill. I like that. Well, there's a lot of good kills in this one, but that was one of the ones you actually saw happen, not just the after effects. So, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, you can't get by with an implied kill unless, like, it was really good or the other selection was that bad.
Mm-hmm. And the most horrifying kill had to be the curling iron in the JJ, but still, you didn't actually see that. You saw it in the form of like shadow puppets. So
yeah, just like her hand going up, which I think I can say that we're both glad we didn't see that.
Oh, no one wants to see that. Not even like to see it like implied. Like, that's just goddamn. But yeah, so guys, that is Sleepaway Camp. What did you think of this movie? What do you think of our coverage of it? Did we leave anything out? Did you disagree with some of our opinions? Or do you just not care and you've got another movie you want us to watch? Well, you have a few ways of getting in contact with us. You can do it the old-fashioned way and get us through an email. Just send that off to graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter and message us there at GYS_horrorpod. You can follow us and do the same on Facebook at facebook.com/thegraveyardshiftpod, or you can follow us on Instagram and instagram.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. If you're feeling particularly generous, you can head on over to patreon.com/graveyard. There you can make a donation to help with the upkeep and running of the show. And if that wasn't rewarded enough, then you get the instant gratification of getting access to some Patreon-only exclusive bonus content. This is what we put on our Patreon site for our Patreon donors that are donating as little as $1 a month to the show. You get access to Patreon exclusive bonus content. We put up once a month. We do it a little differently than we do with regular feed. Like sometimes we do extended episodes, or sometimes we'll go through the entire synopsis of a movie from start to finish. Sometimes we do something that's not a movie at all. We've done video games. We've done top 10 lists. We've done TV shows. Go there and check it out. Now, we do understand not everybody has the money to give us money, but that's okay. You can still help us out a ton. You can go on over to iTunes and rate, review, subscribe. In the long run, honestly, that's what's going to help us out the most anyway, so we would appreciate that. If you're not an Apple user, you can still rate, review, subscribe. However you're getting our show, there must be some type of rating system, so if you could give us a nice review there, that would help us out greatly. And if that's not possible, share us on social media or by word of mouth to anybody you think would be interested in listening to us talk about horror movies. So, Mike, other than the Graveyard Shift, you got a few other things going on. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Well, I got the Playing with Power podcast, which hopefully is still running by the time that this airs. It's a Nintendo Power retrospective podcast. We read Nintendo Power magazine, first issue to last, hopefully, front to back. We talk about the articles, the game coverage, the artwork, the letters to the editor. It's all good, retro, nostalgic fun from the good old 90s and 80s when you had to actually read a magazine or a book of some kind to actually figure out how to beat games. And then we've got the Taste Test, which now has its own feed. And that's a retro games review podcast where I also do skits. And we throw food themes around. So you can just find out where podcasts are. Just the Taste Test Retro Gaming with Flavor. That's the name of the podcast so that you can find it and not confuse it with other podcasts called the Taste Test. And then we've got Techno Babble, the tech discussion podcast, where me and Rich Reader discuss an issue or several items that either breakthroughs, gadgets, just interesting, smart tech nerdy stuff. And that's on the Geek Fallout Productions feed for and Facebook.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the Playing with Power podcast, Mike is actually soon going to be looking for a new co-host for that one. Longtime co-host and founder of Playing with Power podcast, Ben, is going to be leaving. And so if you think that's something you're interested in, if you've checked out the podcast or you didn't, go check it out, Playing with Power podcast. If that's something you're interested in, just contact us. So then make sure Mike gets the message and basically show him what you got. And not show, and I don't mean like some of those messages we've been getting, some of those emails we've been getting. Not that type of show him what you got. But if you got some podcast skills you want to show off, then I'm sure, Mike, you're open to some open auditions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to have a passion for video games, a relatively quiet room, a microphone, a computer, something to record with, and a desire to put out a passable audio quality. And
big old boobies.
Yeah, that would help. That would not hurt.
No, I'm joking. That's in reference to the messages we were receiving.
Yeah, and by the way, don't take Sheldon's discouraging comments. If you want to send us those, then please
send them to Find Mike's personal Facebook page and send them there, not to the Graveyard Shifts, please.
Not to Facebook. I'll get reported. Just send it to the Gmail for this show.
Private message, DM. So yeah, but check it out. If you're interested in doing that, then definitely contact Mike and check out this other podcast. They're really good. Mike does a great job, and he's got some great co-hosts on those. So definitely, it's they're quality shows. So if it's something you're interested in, you're gonna like it. So guys, that is our show for this week. We got some more horror movies coming up. I'm actually really looking forward to the string of movies that we're doing next, and our next Patreon idea. We talked about that earlier. We're going to leave it for a surprise, but yeah, I don't know about you, Mike, but I'm really looking forward to these next movies.
Same here.
But yeah, and like I said, also if you've got movies you want us to cover on the show, then you heard all the ways that you can contact us, so go ahead and send your suggestions there. We do them basically a first come, first basis type of order, unless we decide we don't want to do that. But eventually we get around to everybody's suggestions, so thank you for that. And we have received quite a few. We've got movies for quite some time, so we really do appreciate it, guys. Not just that, but all the messages, all the love we're getting, and thanks so much. It really makes us happy. But we're going to be back again next week with another horror movie to talk about. Until then, I'm Sheldon.
And I'm Mike.
Thank you again for joining us for The Graveyard Shift. Ha 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 ha!